Good morning, everyone. So today, myself, Padmavati, I'm here teaching 9th class social studies. So today we are going to deal with the 15th chapter of the 9th class. That is nothing but colonialism in Latin America, Asia and Africa. So before entering into the lesson, we need to know what do you mean by colonialism. Colonialism is nothing but, colonialism is nothing but creating colonies. So before going into detailed explanation, first we need to know what you mean by colonization. So from colonization, colonialism has came. That means colonialism is nothing but taking in charge of another country due to its resources or labor. Okay, again I'm repeating, colonialization is nothing but a country taking in charge of another country for its resources and labor. So now we understood what you mean by colonization, taking in charge for the resources and labor. So by what means do we colonize? Colonization appeared by military forces and by using their economic power. Colonization has been approached by their military power and by their economic development. So the colonized country have created colonies in the areas which they occupied, which is nothing but creating colonies. In fact, it is known as colonialism. So in this chapter 15, colonialism in Latin America, Asia and Africa. So now starting with the chapter, expansion of Europe and early colonialism. So before entering into the lesson, there is a picture given below in the starting of the lesson. So look at the map of the world given below. Is this looking like a map? It shows the world as it was known to the Europeans some 600 years ago. So according to the Europeans, it is a map created by themselves around 600 years ago. So map 1. Map of world known to Europeans in 1400, which is known as Geonies. They have named the map which they created as Geonies. Around 600 years ago, people of the world traveled very little. They usually traveled on horses or camels or by small boats and ships which only sailed along the sea coast. However, the contact between people and countries began to increase as traders traveled to different countries and continents to buy exotic goods and sell them at high prices. So what happened during around 600 years ago, people traveled very little because as there was no sophisticated technology earlier, people traveled very little, by which means they traveled by horses or camels. In those days, the animals were used for traveling, or else for some they used small boats and ships which only sailed along the sea coast. So as they were traveling, so for what purpose they traveled? They traveled for trade which nothing but business. So while they traveled, they made contact between the people and countries began to increase as traders. Traders are nothing but the business people, the traders, travel to different countries and continents to buy exotic goods. So what do you mean by exotic goods? So exotic goods are nothing but the goods which are considered as unrare, which are unique because of the quantity or productivity or the produce or of the origin where it is got originated, where it got produced. For example, spices are considered as exotic goods, luxury items, tea and coffee. These goods which are considered as exotic goods because of their rareness, unique and origin. And these products are produced in only one particular country. The other country finds difficult to get these products, and these are nothing but the exotic goods which is considered as the rare, unique and due to their origin. Example, spices, luxury items, tea and coffee. Exotic goods and sell them at high prices. So people who went far away for trade, they search for the exotic goods, purchase that exotic goods and sell them at higher prices. For example, silk and porcelain. Porcelain is nothing but a type of porcelain ware is nothing but which is used in for plates, making plates, cups. And this porcelain is very famous for its beauty and translucency. And silk and porcelain are considered as exotic goods, and they are from China. Cotton textiles, steel and spices from India, fruits and scents from Arabia, and wine from Europe were some of the most popular goods all over the world. The traders usually purchased and sold them in exchange for gold and silver and made huge profits. The traders who have purchased the exotic goods from different countries here, what they do, they exchange for gold and silver and make huge profits. So in fact, some of them were even richer than kings. So the traders who purchased the exotic goods and selling them at higher prices have become more richer than kings. Indian traders and sailors from Gujarat, Konkan, Malabar and Coromandel coast traded far and wide. They traded with China. Who are the people traded with China? Sailors from Gujarat, Konkan, Malabar and Coromandel coast. They traded with China, Southeast Asia, the Red Sea ports and also Eastern Africa. Their sailors used the monsoon winds to cross the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. So at that time they used to do the sailing part or trading by the sea coast. Most of the trade routes that connected Europe and Asia around 1400 were controlled by Muslim kingdoms, especially the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire was constantly at war with the European Christian powers. The Italians had a good relationship with the Arab traders who brought Asian goods to Alexandria and sold them to Italians. Here what happened? The Ottoman Empire has been frequently in war with the European Christian powers. So due to that war, the Italians had a good relationship with the Arab traders, and other traders brought Asian goods to Alexandria, that is Egypt, and sold them to the Italians. Slowly, the traders and governments of Western European countries like Holland, Spain, Portugal. Slowly, the traders and governments of Western European countries like Holland, Spain, Portugal, and England realized the importance of this trade. They also wanted to find faster and easier routes to countries like India and China without passing through regions controlled by Italian traders. So here the traders and governments of Western European countries named Holland, Spain, Portugal and England realized the importance of this trade. They also wanted to find faster and easier routes to countries like India and China. So what the European countries wanted, they wanted faster and easier routes to countries like India and China without passing through regions controlled by Italian traders. There are some regions which are controlled by Italian traders. So the people of Western European countries, they wanted to fast easier routes to India and China because there are some exotic goods produced in India and China. So they wanted to capture those goods and make huge profits from that. So in order to make huge profits, they wanted to find faster and easier routes. For example, the Portuguese wanted to find a route around Africa to reach India. The Spanish wanted to know if it was possible to reach India by crossing the Atlantic Ocean. Each and every country is having different kinds of opinions to purchase the exotic goods. For example, the Portuguese is thinking that they wanted to find a route around Africa to reach India. So they wanted to reach India by passing through Africa. Whereas the Spanish, they wanted to know if it was possible to reach India by crossing the Atlantic Ocean. They invested large amounts of money by hiring experienced sea mariners and giving them ships and other resources to explore new routes. So in order to reach India, they are hiring. Hiring is nothing but taking in charge of the experienced, who are well experienced in sea mariners, and giving them ships to find out the routes for India. This led to the discovery of the American continent by Christopher Columbus in 1492 and of sea route to India around Africa by Vasco da Gama in 1498. Columbus was working for the Spanish queen while Vasco da Gama was working for the Portuguese king. Soon, English and Dutch governments also started sending their sailors to these regions. So children, here Christopher Columbus, by making his sea route to India around Africa, he discovered that American continent by Christopher Columbus. So Columbus discovered America. And here Vasco da Gama in 1498 found out a sea route to India around Africa. So these 2 years are very important, 1492 and 1498, where American continent, the discovery of the American continent by Christopher Columbus, and the sea route to India around Africa by Vasco da Gama in 1498. So Columbus, for whom he is working? Columbus was working for the Spanish queen, while Vasco da Gama was working for the Portuguese king. Soon, English and Dutch governments also started sending their sailors to these regions. For what purpose they're sending their sailors? In order to buy the exotic goods, in order to create a colonies, so that the India is rich in resources, and also to occupy the labor of the country. Thank you.